always irritates me. But yeah, it is frustrating that, when you want to find somebody local to help you, that all those other ads pop up ahead of you. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's also why I started doing video content, because I like writing, but I'm also comfortable in front of the camera and speaking. So a lot of people relate more to seeing a person's face talking, even if it's someone virtual,
Hmm.
rather than reading. We tend to think, even though, of course, they don't know me, you see a face and they're talking, you seem sincere. A lot of people really can relate to that more than reading something. So that's why I
Hmm.
try to have the content both ways, so that if someone is searching and they do hear me talking and it is something that resonates with them, well, then I've done my job. Then they've gotten some good information that will help them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or I've entertained them with Sarah, one or the other. May
Yeah.
have made them laugh.
Which is important these days, that's for sure. Oh.
Absolutely. Yeah, keeping
Mhm.
people's spirits up.
So you have a
Mhm.
lot of different topics on there, and of course, as I started this out, I said, I was happy that um, the lost and found was right there, right at the top, so it was easy to find for people. Um, what do you think are some of the most searched topics that you find are coming to your page? Because, all of a sudden I'm seeing from my webpage, Google sends this thing. I'm not that savvy. I'm not, I know I made my
Yeah.
webpage, I did it myself, but I don't know how to read all the statistics about it and all that jazz. And I think it came yesterday, these were the pages that got the most hits, and I find it interesting. So
Mhm.
what particular things are people searching for on your site?
Well, like you, I'm really trying to do a better job with Google Analytics, because it just makes my eyes cross. And I
I know.
tried doing their online class, and it was like just as confusing, so I gave up. So I'm trying to take online classes from other people who can kind of explain it in layman's terms so that I can understand. Because you're right, there's so much information, there's so many layers of information, and that helps you as a content creator to know what is it that people are searching for. But
Hmm.
I think just in my initial research, I find that way more than anything else, people have lost a cat. It's something about losing a cat, way more than losing a dog.
Hmm.
And then the other stuff, just the fun stuff, people look up a variety of things. Like I did one called "Can Cats Be Vegan?" because people actually ask that question. They want to give their dog or cat a vegetarian or vegan diet because that's their dietary choice. So just kind of find some oddball stuff like that that people are actually asking, and that is a serious question that should be answered. But
Hmm.
yeah, way more than anything else, people losing cats. So I'm really trying to focus on more cat content. Although I also want to balance it out with dog content. Like my next video in the works, full length video, will be about when people have a newly adopted dog, keeping them safe. Because that's a
Yeah.
huge problem with dogs getting away from people right after they've taken them for adoption or fostering. So that's going to be another topic. I know it's a thing that happens a ton. I don't
Hmm.
know if people are searching for it, but what I'll have to do is find out what people are searching for and kind of have those statements in the material so that they can find that
Yeah.
and learn some of those tactics, because that's one of the things that people really need some help with, because it's literally happening every week. I'm hearing stories about
Oh, it
that.
is. It is. Yeah, it definitely is.
Mhm.
So many of them. We still have one that hasn't been found. I don't know what happened to the poor little thing.
Mhm.
Um, but it, people don't, I don't know, from my point of view, I don't know if there's lack of education from the facility or breeder or whomever the pet is coming from. That number
Mhm.
one is something that I think needs to be improved. And just education before, what to do when you adopt a pet. I mean, really,
Mhm.
and how to keep it safe.
Yeah.
People think they know, but they don't understand that the flight risk of a newly adopted pet, they are a huge
Mhm.
flight risk. I mean, I've had my Carly now for 2 years. I've never had a dog like that in my life, and I've always had rescues. She gets the chance to go, she will go. But now, thankfully,
Uh-huh.
all you have to do is give her a and she just rolls over on her back and she stops.
Uh-huh.
Oh, but
Yeah, I
yeah.
think people, they think about the dog they had before. They think about old Shep and like this dog is going to be the same. They don't realize even if it's exactly the same breed, it's not the same dog, and they're not going to, and they don't know you. You know,
Hmm.
I've obviously adopted a lot of animals over the years, and I recently adopted a horse from a rescue. So when I first met him, of course, I had seen the pictures, and so I was already, we kind of bond to pictures and videos. Well, of course, the animals don't. So when I first met him, he just sort of ignored me and wasn't interested. And then it took some time to develop a relationship, and now he knows me and we have a good relationship. But people don't realize that. They're not going to just come running up to you, you know, yay, you're my owner. Like they don't know who you are or what you want. They don't know what to expect from you, and you don't know what their history was. So even if they haven't been abused, even if their life was just fine, they don't know who you are and what's going to happen next. It's once you get into a routine,
Hmm.
then they start to calm down. And some of these dogs, like the ones from other countries, I think we talked about this before, that the ones from China, from those meat places, some of them are really skittish.
Yeah.
They are breeds that are naturally more skittish, like the Jindo type dogs, and they are also not socialized. They've been living in
Yeah.
cages, so that's a whole other level of difficulty for adopters. That maybe they've never had a dog like that before, or seen a dog like that before. So yeah, they
Yeah.
definitely need some education before adoption.
Yeah. And as long as we're on this subject, the top three that I would say are the cats. We see that is one of the biggest categories of lost pets right now in my world. Adopted pets is one of the biggest categories right now, and
Mhm.
senior pets.
Hmm.
Seniors have been going missing like crazy. And I
Hmm.
think what's happening, this would be a good story, a good consideration, is I think in
Mhm.
my mind it's doggy dementia. People don't realize
Mhm.
that. They do not
Yeah.
realize that. They go outside, they think, "Oh, I just let Sammy go out. He's fine. He doesn't go anywhere." But okay, but then he gets turned around and he doesn't remember which way to go and he
Mhm.
goes the wrong way, and you go out to get
Yeah.
Sammy, and Sammy is gone. We've had
Mhm.
too many of them. We have a lot of water here. Too many of them have been
Mhm.
found in canals or ponds, drowned. You
Hmm.
know,
Wow.
all the time, all the time. I just had two. It happened to. We've lost, I think, two or three senior rat terriers or Jack Russells in the last 2 months, two or three of them. Yeah. Because
Wow.
people don't realize that you can't let your
Yes.
old senior dog out anymore. It's just, they don't get that. And that's a really important thing, I think, to educate people on.
Yeah.
We see that way too much here. There was one this morning of, what was it, a 12-year-old lab. And the first thing I do when I get a report is I look at the address and I look for water, because also we have
Mhm. Oh,
alligators here.
interesting.
Yeah, we have
Oh.
alligators here, and we
Yeah.
lost we lost a little one at a pond. An alligator got it. So,
Oh my
you know,
God.
and I'm in Florida, so we have these
Yeah.
situations that
Mhm.
are different from other parts of the country, but they're very
Yeah.
important considerations here.
Right. That's an excellent idea. In fact, I'm going to write that down as soon as we're done with our interview, because I too have seen, when I was in the shelters, many cases of older dogs. And one of the shelters where I worked was out in the country. So you had a lot of farm dogs. You had border collies, Aussies, and McNabs and whatnot. And the dogs would get lost and they'd come into the shelter, and the owner would swear the dog has lived outside its whole life. A lot of these dogs are just trained to stay on the perimeter, and that's been fine for the last 10 years. But as you mentioned, the dogs were getting demented, where, just as you said, they would fall into a ditch and not be able to get out and just lay there. Or they would literally go across the street and then not remember where they came from.
Hmm.
and just be so confused that they were quite close to home, or even maybe on their own property, but just kind of far from the house. And they couldn't remember how to get back, even though they'd lived there their whole life. And it was really a hard sell to tell people, like, it's time to keep him in the house, or at least, pen him up in an area where you can keep your eye on him, because he's just, the mental facilities are not what they used to be.
Yeah. Well, Brigid, this has gone by really fast. I think I'm over time right now. So I wanted to thank you again for being with me. Could you real quickly tell everybody how to find your webpage?
Yes, it is firststreetpets.com, and first is all spelled out like a word. You can just go there. You can read all the articles, and there are accompanying videos with each article if you prefer to get your content that way. You can also email me at info@firststreetpets.com.
All right. Thanks so much, Brigid. I really appreciate it. So remember,
Thank you.
everybody, you're welcome. So remember, everybody, that a lost pet can't tell anyone where it lives. So please be sure they are microchipped and wearing their ID tags. If they are chipped, be sure that chip is registered and up to date. Thanks for joining us today. And until next time, take care and keep your pets safe.